Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the commentators, guest, and host. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the policy or the views held by Tobago Updates or this network. Tobago Updates or this network cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Vox Populi. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome one. My name is Barrington Skippy Thomas and I'm your host on this particular segment. This evening we're going to attend upon three subject matters. One would be a press release issued by a member of parliament. Two would be, of course, the debacle of the closure of the Registrar General's office. And three, an application has been made to the Commission of Police by a group of civic-minded and democratically endowed citizens to engage in a protest that proposes to burn the police flag. We will be interviewing Omar Abdullah, head of the Islamic Front and the First Wave movement. Of course, when we have Brother Abdullah on, most certainly I will not squander the opportunity to have him share his thoughts on the matters related to the Israeli-Gaza Palestine crisis that is taking place now in the Gaza Strip there in the Middle East. So we'll start right away. And of course we'll start with, on Tuesday 17th October 2023, Member of Parliament for Couva North, Ravi Ratiram, and you will never believe this, reduced in writing. He reduced in writing a press release title and caption, abolish PTSC toilet tax. Now hold there for a while. Just hold it there for a while. Now, if this wasn't a real country, right? If this was not a real country, one would have suggested if this was not a real country, that he may have written this press release in a toilet. And the paper he had used to write this press release ought to have been used as toilet paper and discarded. But no, he did not do that. He bold-facedly published this nonsense. Abolish the PTSC toilet tax. Now I raise this because, as laughable and nonsensical as this is, I am concerned that this is the quality of representation and advocacy that we have existing in the nation's parliament. And to make matters worse, the parliament is sitting, albeit now in the select committee, to review matters concerning the budget. Now, one would argue that it's understandable what the MP wished to assert, or what he wished to argue, or what he wished to put forward in this press release. And ironically, they are sitting there in the parliament now debating the budget, right? They are debating, of course, the budget, allocations, fiscal measures, tax impositions and that sort of thing. We have the issue of the property tax. We have an issue with the property tax, which, by the way, the Minister of Finance indicated that it would be collected in San Fernando, Port of Spain, Siparia, Diego Martin, Sangre Grande, Mearo, and he Cuva Talparo, and he called out all the corporations in Trinidad. I did not hear him say that any would be collected by the Tobago House of Assembly. I did not hear him say that. But so we have serious matter dealing with the allocation bill for fiscal year 2024. We have an MP who actually had time to write this, calling for the abolishment of a toilet tax. Now what he's really speaking about is that at PTSC, a fee is paid to use the washroom there and thing. I think it's a $2 fee and so. But you must give Jackie jacket, Jim is gym boots, and Dora she petticoat. Because what had happened is that the Maxi Taxi Association used to control that area of the facility, and so it was free for many years because the Maxi Taxi were paying to the PTSC $1 toll for every trip they leave with from Citygate. Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, and we'll hear a lot more about him in the next segment in very quick time, took the matter to the court, and one Friday afternoon, Justice Lennox Dialsing ruled that the collection of such a toll was unconstitutional. And as a result of that, the money collected from the Maxi Taxi operators for the maintenance of certain part of the facility, which including the toilets, were no longer paid to the PTSC, and so the toilet facility became free. I want to emphasize free because it literally became a free for all. It was a hellhole. It was a dump. It was messy. It was more or less an incubator for cholera and any other related or antecedent diseases. Since the $2 toll, $2, hear me following Ravi with his nonsense. Since the $2 fee for use of the facility, persons have been employed to maintain the facility. So they are custodians, they are on a 24-hour basis. The facility is now in pristine conditions thanks to the $2 fee that is being paid to use it. You see, if we allow this nonsense, this stupidness to pass because an MP said it, and he said it against the government, and we don't like the government. So because we don't like the government, we must support this nonsense. Well, I will not be doing that. I will not be doing that. Then, Ratiram is saying the fee to go into Pigeon Point is also a tax. And many other facilities. Since I was a child, I know if you have to go and use Lambeau Beach House, you have to pay 50 cents. You go to Mount Irving or Storby facility, you pay a fee to use the facilities. So let me just repair this MP's ignorance and move on from this toilet talk that flowed from his toilet mind. MP Ratiram, you are my friend. You are. And let me say this to you, that as a member of parliament, the government, through the parliament, through the clerk of the House of Representatives, give you money to hire people. One such person you ought to hire, as it's on the schedule of persons to be hired, is a researcher. You have a researcher. When you have idle time, go and take a jog. Go up Chancellor Hill. Go and play pool go and drink a beer, go and buy doubles, go and play football, but don't write press releases. And so for those who may have had the misfortune to read this nonsense, I just want to let you know that paying fees to use facilities are not taxes, than that a tax is any charge of money or property that is imposed by a government upon individuals or entities that are within the government authority to collect. All right? And that definition may sound as if it's resembling a tax. This is not a tax. A tax has to be approved and sanctioned with pain of punishment and so by a parliament. And I want to tell the PTSC, now if the argument had been that people are paying to use the facility and the facility is not up to standard, then I would have supported that. But I can't support upkeeping a place, a fee, as minimal fee have to be paid to use it, and then because an MP want to score points, he is this. So Ravi, concentrate on the budget, please, and try making some serious contributions to the budget. And Vancouver North have had in its history some of the best representatives that this country could offer, which include Basdio Pandey. And you ought not to drag the legacy of the representation of Vancouver North by talking about toilet fees and the stupidness in the parliament. If that is your limit, then say to your leader, I can go no more. I suggest you revert me to a county council or one of the corporations, because I don't understand what's being discussed in the budget and I cannot properly participate in it. But you don't want to you don't reduce the party, your party's position to, as the British would say, discussing shite in a national debate over a national budget. You lose marks there, plenty. All right, let's move on now to the issue of the Registrar General. We have Omar Abdullah coming on soon, and I have scheduled him for 7:30, and I know that he had to leave a meeting. So, I have in fact instructed my attorneys to send a pre-action protocol letter, and I'll display that letter in the interest of time, to the Registrar General, one Mrs. Karen Bridgewater. And it is concerning, and you'll run all the pages for me, please, Director, and it is concerning, of course, the very sordid debacle, right? It is concerning the very sordid debacle of, no, run all the pages, I was trying to save time as well, thanks. It's concerning the sordid, but run them slowly so people could, still have a scan at it. It's concerning the sordid debacle of the Registrar General locking out from the system the Deputy Registrar General here in Tobago. Now, my concern about that is simply this: closing and shutting down or shutting out Tobago from a national service is more than a mere inconvenience. Right? It is more than a mere inconvenience. It is a constitutional breach. And the constitutional breach, my friends, would be the right of any person to equality of treatment from a public authority in the exercise of any functions pursuant to section 4D of the Constitution. So it is not about the inconvenience that was suffered, right? It has nothing to do with the inconvenience that was suffered. What you had is a a public office holder arrogating upon herself to railroad, harass, distress, oppress, inconvenience the people of Tobago. That is what we have happening here. And in doing so, she is in breach. She is in severe breach of the Constitution. Now, you see, because, okay, that, yeah, and I saw this letter on the social media as well. I saw this letter on I think this is the letter the Chief Secretary would have written to the Attorney General asking, well, you know, what is happening about this? I saw this on social media as well. So it was good to know that I only did not have issue with this. So that is what this is. But let me put this now in a political and historical context. In 1976, I think it was, when the PNM lost the election here in Tobago, those of they, that would have been 1 year, so I wouldn't know, but the records are there. But those of they who were working in the system at the time, who would have been adults at the time, ask them where they had to go to get a death certificate. Ask them what they had to do to get a birth certificate. In fact, that was more or less the political punishment the people of Tobago had to endure, the political price they had to pay for not voting in 1976 for the PNM. Eric Williams, and he pulled the ministry, he pulled all those services back to Port of Spain. Ask persons who would have been there at the time and in the know, who have had the experience, the horrors that they had to endure to get to Port of Spain, to go to the Red House, to get a death certificate to bury a loved one, to get a birth certificate when it's time to register births and so. So having lost the election, and the Prime Minister declaring, a Tobagonian, declaring that, remember one of his recent threats, when he said to the Chief Secretary and the Tobago House Assembly and to Tobagonians, he said, he don't care which dog you support, because it is the size of the kennel that matters. No Registrar General in this country, absolutely none, no Registrar General in this country is so bold-faced to wake up one morning, because it never happened. It's so bold-faced to wake up one morning and say, I am pulling the plug on the operations in the Tobago office. No Registrar General in this country is so bold-faced and is so empowered. And so the Registrar General must tell us in this country which big brother strength in the cabinet she relied upon, which politician in the cabinet gave her the cue to do that, to which politician she responded to and created that brief but immense suffering for the people of Tobago. Because the first time it happened, it was as a result of a direct political decision to punish the people of Tobago. It never happened before. And you see, I take note that the Attorney General said, right, 2032, you all will tell me when we have Omar. I take note that the Attorney General said, this is an issue. Yeah, I want to get it, I want to quote him correctly. Okay, great. So I take note that the Attorney General said that there are legal issues of some vintage to be resolved. Now when you say you have issues of vintage, you mean you have old problems. Huh? When you say you have issues of vintage, it means that you have old unresolved problems. But notwithstanding all the vintage, no Registrar General from Robinson, or let me back up. No Registrar General from Chambers to Robinson to Manning to Pandey to Manning again to Kamla have pulled the plug, albeit temporary, but with immense inconvenience and suffering. No Registrar General have done it. Why did this one do it? And so, as I said, the issue of registering, well, as I see, you all could always recap the show. The letter is there. And another thing I'll do, I'll put the letter up on my own social media platform so you all could have access to it. But you see, the issue of the birth, registering your child is what makes the child a citizen, right? It's what makes the child a citizen. And much more than the Section 4D offense, well, not offense, sorry, but the Section 4D constitutional breach with the right to equality of treatment by a body availing public service. In the instance now for the funerals, it's also a constitutional breach of the right to religious beliefs, because you have to register your dead so that you can intern the body and so according to your rights and beliefs. So if you're Hindu, there is a ceremony. If you're Muslim, there is a practice. If you're Baptist, there is a order. If you're Christian, and so there are ways these things are done, but you can't do it until the death is registered. But they have restored the issue now of the birth, death, and marriages and so. They have restored those issues. But what about the land registry? What about the business registry? Well, I'm sure if most of you, just put up the front page of this for me, please. Front page, because there's something I want to say, and you would also see it in the Guardian. So this letter wasn't written in response to their press release saying the services are back up. This letter was issued on the 15th of October, and I think it was later the day or the following day when they issued their press release saying, well, you could get the marriages, the death and births. But those are not all the services. And Tobagonians are not half citizens. So we don't deserve half services from an institution that ought to provide full services. Because full services are available in Arima. Full services are available in San Fernando. Full services are available in Port of Spain. And I demand tonight, from this place and at this time, I demand the full services of the Registrar General. And so I told my lawyers, I will settle for no half-picked duck from the Registrar General. The issue of the land registry, the issue of the company's registry, is still outstanding. And as a consequence of that, they have my full instructions. I think the Registrar General, I've asked them, you'll see it in the letter, they'll put it up for you on the page, they'll put it up with the program and so. And right. So I've asked come back to me please. I've instructed my lawyers and they have my firm instructions. The entire battery of them, Kiran Ramkalawan, Dinesh Rambali, Kyle Taklal Singh, Stefan Ramkisoon, and Ria Khan. Well, Ria name is not there, and Ria Khan. And they have my full and firm instructions to continue the pressure on the Registrar General that if those services are not restored come Monday, I think is the 7th day, then they have my very firm instructions to drag the Registrar General to the courthouse to respond to a constitutional motion for her conduct and her constitutional breaches against the people of Tobago and in me particular. Because I have no debt to register, I have no birth to register, I have no marriage to register, but I have an organization to register. And her unilateral and unconstitutional decision have caused me a constitutional breach because I wish to register and I wanted since last week and they were down, and so my interest in this is that I must register my company, well not company, my foundation, and the name of that foundation is the Tobago Foundation for Internal Self-Governance and Autonomy. I can't have it registered because the Registrar General in Port of Spain decide on her own because of some issue she have here with the Deputy Registrar General in Tobago that all of Tobago must suffer. Madam, I don't know where you're from, but this is not a country of men. This is a country of laws. And no man is above it. No man is above it. Not even the Registrar General, who think that the Attorney General and a Prime Minister in this instance can save you. So we'll be going to the courthouse on that. Let's take a short break and then we'll come back with Brother Omar Abdullah from the First Wave Movement. We'll be discussing with Brother Omar Abdullah an application to march against the police, to burn their flags, and of course I would ask him to share his thoughts with us on the Israeli-Palestine war taking place now at the Gaza Strip. We take a break and return.
Any drink by the bag, give me plenty. Calibre liquor shot at the century. No, now the thing start. Me love me drinks to me heart and me send shots.
The countdown is on
for the greatest carnival weekend in the world.
It's time for
Tobago Carnival, Friday, October 27th
to Sunday 29th. Come witness the release of the revelry and the ritual of the road in Tobago.
This our wee carnival.
This is our wee carnival.
It's time
for Tobago Carnival. Ready yourself for the ritual of the road.
Log on to welcometobago.com for more details. Tobago Carnival, Friday, October 27th
to Sunday 29th.
Tobago Carnival, Caribbean Vibes presents Tequila Sunset. Tequila Sunset, October 27th. You know what you're doing. Scarborough Esplanade from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's a cooler fete like no other. Bring your squad and we'll take care of the vibe with your top TNT and New York DJs, surprise guest artists. Tequila Sunset will be an epic event you will never forget. Early bird tickets are 199 TT or 30 US. Get your tickets online on islandetickets.com or frontlineticketing.com. For more info, call 475-6218 or 754-7344. And New York, 917-561-9742. All drinks must be in plastic bottles and no ice or chaser allowed. Tequila Sunset, October 27th, Scarborough, Esplanade.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the commentators, guest, and host. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the policy or the views held by Tobago Updates or this network. Tobago Updates or this network cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
Alright, so folks, and we are back. And just permit me to do this before I go on to Brother Abdullah. Because I'm advised that notwithstanding the civil registry of the birth, deaths, and marriages are up, no credential have been given for the Deputy Registrar General who is in charge to access the system. So they have given coded access to some persons at the ministry there. I'm reliably advised, and I have reasons to believe the information I receive, that the persons there are not known to support any other political party but the PNM. So they have given instructions to them and not the person in charge. Now I don't know the person in charge, and I may never know the person in charge. But whoever is the actor in this is not important. The actor is not important. This is a political, legal, and administrative assault on the people of Tobago. And so I would invite those of you who are affected in any way or are still affected, whether during that time you had funeral, death to register, birth to register, marriage to register, or any business at all with the Registrar General office and was so inconvenienced. I really don't like giving out my number, because some people actually call you for stupidness, and they always sending these things on your phone and taking up a lot of space, and you wake up, you see now the 100 I tell you, Jesus said to wake up now and all. So you'd forgive me for not wanting to give out my number, but I'm available on the Facebook thing. I know you have the Facebook Messenger and you have Facebook book itself. Or you could leave your messages here, the numbers at Tobago Updates, and I will get back in touch with you. So persons who have been affected, have been affected, still being affected, or likely to be affected, because you have some business to do with the Registrar General, which might now at this time include land registry and company business and so. But if you have been affected in any way with death and birth and so, still do, get in touch with me, Facebook Messenger and so preferably, and I may want affidavit from you. Let's go on now to Brother Abdullah. Brother Abdullah, how are you?
Greetings, my brother. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Are you hearing us clearly?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Well, I am getting some challenges to hear you. I'm hearing you, but not loudly. I'm hearing you clearly, but not loud enough, yes.
Are you hearing me better now?
I'm hearing you much better now, yes.
Greetings to all your viewers and all your listeners.
Yeah.
And it's glad to be with you again.
Yes.
We get platforms together.
Yes.
We interview me.
Brother Abdullah, I have here in my hand a letter written on your behalf. Well, on your behalf, I mean, of course, the First Wave Movement, making an application to the Commissioner of Police for a march. Yes? You want to tell us about, and the march, of course, is against the extrajudicial killing of the police, or by the police rather, Yes, you want to share your thoughts and you want to tell us some more about that, rather?
Yes. Firstly, we would have written at TTPS asking them for all the relevant information as to extrajudicial killings in the Port of Spain area alone. And because what we have noticed has been a trend by the TTPS, you know, in these instances where persons would have been killed or died at the hands of the police, the investigations have been very slow, some not at all. Some investigations, of course, the Police Complaints Authority would have taken up those investigations and issued reports, like we had recently, where those 3 young men killed in Port of Spain, and you know, one of the young guys who was killed, very young boy, 17 years old. He was a member of police youth club, so he had a lot of good going for him. He was an upstanding youth in the community, and you know, he was not, you know, involving himself in none of the negative type of activities and so on. So he was a very positive youth, and he was one of them who was killed. And the Police Complaints Authority advised the commissioner that she should set up an inquiry into the deaths of these men. Up until now, that has not been by the Commissioner of Police. So in light of this, together with the numerous reports that we would have gotten from other families regarding their loved ones, and they being killed or losing their lives at the hands of the police, we would have written to the police asking for all relevant information, you know, reports that was taken, the investigations that were started, what's the status of those investigations, etc., etc. And up until now, we have not gotten any response from the police. They have asked for an extension, and I've instructed my attorneys to, you know, issue them a pre-action protocol letter, which they did, and we have now reached a stage where we are proceeding to march against the police. When I get there at the police station on the 28th of October this month, I am going to burn a replica of the police flag in front of the police headquarters. And I'm doing that to mean the police flag does not no longer represent what or the police behavior in Trinidad and Tobago. And hence the reason why we are taking this step. And it's also calling on the police service to check themselves and to correct their errors and to bring about some change in policing here in Trinidad and Tobago. Enough is enough. All right, the police has been, you know, getting away with impunity against the population here in this country. And it's like every time there's a police killings, and there's a big, you know, noise about it, investigations, all of that. Next Monday morning, you see some police officers misbehaving and doing the very same thing. And this is cannot allow.
Well, it will never escape my memory that sometime during Ramadan, it may have been last year or perhaps the year before, because time is flying like so fast. I gave one of my nephew he's going to Bishop's, and I gave him a drop home this evening. So I asked him something about first form, and he said, "No, Uncle Skip, you're in fourth form." But it seemed to me like it was yesterday past common entrance for Bishop. The point I'm making is that time flies so quickly. So I'm not sure if it was last year or perhaps the year before, but it would not be longer than the year before, where there was a police shooting in Diego Martin. I know it was during Ramadan. And the police commissioner went down there. It was Mr. Jacob, and he went down there and he issued threats and so on. He said, of course, if you touch one, you touch all, and they were desecrating mosques and were where Muslims were fasting and so forth during Ramadan, and they desecrated mosque because they're getting on bad and they want blood and so. And then lo and behold, in less than 2 days, it was discovered that it was police that killed the policeman and not the people they were seeking to slaughter, under the supervision of the Commissioner of Police. 2 of those police officers, I am advised, are now properly before the court, and well, of course, they will have their day there. So, and then also, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you are, I'd like you to comment on it. The American government, the United States of American government, have said to our country, said to our Prime Minister during a visit there to the US, that they too, the United States of America, are concerned over the extrajudicial killings of citizens in Trinidad and Tobago by the police service. And if it's not abated or controlled, they are going to withdraw aid and support for matters related to national security and so. So I don't think it's a first wave alone concern. It seems to be a serious concern that even the United States government are concerned about. Yes, what are your thoughts on that?
It was actually on the heels of that coming out from the American embassy with regards to this matter that we took serious action as regards to this, because previously we, as I said, we have looked at the trend of the police service, and we have been looking at a number of cases where citizens died at the hands of the police. And in most of these cases, weapons was planted on the scene, and a number of irregularities as regards to investigations came out. And when the police complaints authority got involved in those investigations, there were hardly any cooperation by the police and by citizens. And when I say by citizens, some citizens are afraid to come forward because of the fear of victimization by the police service. And when we see things like this in a country's house happening, we have to be concerned, because we are seeing all the elements of the formation of a police state here in Trinidad and Tobago. And if people do not understand what police is, you all would not want to be here when there's a full-fledged police state in Trinidad and Tobago. I am telling you.
Yeah.
There are instances in the past where police officers.
I am very, very concerned that if we, as a citizenry, do not call our police service into question, into accountability, and into matters of transparency, that they are galloping. And there's no doubt in my mind, while it's not properly declared, the police service and their conduct seems to me to be resembling or giving the image of the relationship of Papa Doc and his Tout Makut and Gary and his Mongoose gang, because they operate that way to me. Because you see, it's not only about the killings. I mean, I think we had the worst and most sordid, blatant display of police pig power when they came to Tobago and were ransacking and interfering with elected officials over some nonsense of a voice tape. And here you are, the elected officials saying, listen, and as elected official, I mean the Tobago House Assembly, saying, we are victims of serious crime. And this voice note pales in comparison, and this voice, while it pales in comparison, the voice note is also a feature of the crime we are suffering in the sums of millions of dollars and corruption and so. And the police position, in summary, were like, we don't want to hear about that. So the police ignored what ought to be treated as a serious crime to pursue irrelevant nonsense, storming the people's homes, storming their offices, seizing their electronics. And now, so we talking about extrajudicial killing for citizens, of course. But I only made that point to underscore my agreement with your position that if we don't stand up now as a citizenry, we'll get into a full-blown police state. Because if the police could engage in extrajudicial killings, and that is being covered up, and they take it a step further and launch a political assault on a constitutional elected organization, then what next? What next? And so it is the citizen that must now police the parameters of the law and how the police conduct their affairs. They must conduct their affairs above board with accountability and with transparency. And I suspect that is what this march is about, yes?
I'll be delivering a speech at the front of the
the
police headquarters there on the 28th as well. And much of what is our concern, I'm going to speak about it in that delivery. All right, and I just want to make the point here that when we allow our police force to behave and to get away with behavior, we allow the increase of corruption and also the increase of crime. And these things are not going to go unabated. And so what we see happening as a result of the behavior of the police service, they are contributing to corruption and rise of crime in this country. And we are going to have none of it. It has to stop now, and it has to stop. Right from this speaking, I don't believe we have a commissioner of police in this country.
No, I don't think we have a commissioner either.
The commissioner of police is Keith Christopher Rowley.
No, of course, he's the commissioner of police, and you are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. I agree with you. The commissioner of police is Keith Christopher Rowley. I agree with that. If you recall, remember only recently, he captured the police service to do his bidding. Remember, a DPP, this country had to resist that strongly and recently and so on there. So we are not in good times. We are in bad times. But the good thing is, in the bad times, that there are people like you, there are people like you on the first wave standing up for democracy, standing up for justice, and standing up for equality. Having said that, can you tell us what day is the march proposed to be?
The 20th of October, that will be a Saturday. And we're asking people to gather at the Ministry of Education where we are at. We're presently engaged in a protest action at the Ministry of Education. We have been there for the last 118 days. So we're asking people to gather there on the 28th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where we will leave from there and march to the police headquarters, where we will proceed to burn the police flag and to deliver an address to the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
Brother Abdullah, we can't have you here. I can't have you here. I not ask you to share your thoughts on the current war taking place in the Gaza Strip. What are your thoughts, or the thoughts of the position of the first wave movement on the current devastation taking place there in the Gaza Strip?
Well, to be honest, the situation in the Gaza is a real heartbreaker at this point in time. The meeting that I told you I was a part of this evening was a meeting of that sort to discuss a way forward with regards to how, as a Muslim community, we're going to this issue. And it's not something that is new. It's something that's constantly occurred over the years. And we've had different, series of attacks from Israel on the Palestinian people. Israel, as a matter of has been choking the Palestinian people out of their homes, villages, their farms, etc. over the years. Palestine has been shrinking. If you look at the map back then to now, you're going to see a shrinkage of the Palestinian territory. And quite frankly speaking, the American government has allowed Israel to become what they are today. And hence the reason why we have decided to march to the American embassy on Friday at 3 o'clock opposite the Napa. We are gathering opposite the Napa. And from there we'll go to the American embassy, where I'll be delivering a letter to the President of the United States of America. We've also written a letter to the Foreign Minister here in Trinidad and Tobago. We are asking America to do what is right, to bring about peace in the region. That's what we are asking. Now, a lot of people are talking about, Hamas and, the attack and all of that. We're not talking about Hamas. I don't want to get into that conversation. All right. And if I'm asked a question about it, I'm going to give a simple answer, as in the words of one of my close brothers, who said, a terrorist for one person is a freedom fighter for another person. And I just leave it as that. But what we see happening in Palestine, it's really wretched. It is not just Muslims, also Arab Christians and Arab Jews that are being attacked. Their families are being ripped apart. Mothers and fathers being set from their children. All right, and we have many cases in the past. The intervals, we had the Shabra and Shatila attacks where 15,000 Palestinians would have died. The Israelis would have locked them into the area, and for the Crusaders to go in and massacre these women and children and old people. That is what took place. We had also incidences in where the Israelis was bombing or had attempted to bomb libraries and cinemas and so on in Egypt and blame it on the Brotherhood. And what happened is that one night when they was going to plant one of the bombs, it exploded and killed one of the operatives. And the whole thing was a big mess. It's called 11 of Fear. You can go on here. And the minister, why they call it 11 of Fear, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Israel at the time, Long, he had to resign as a result of that incident. And then we had the attack on the USS Liberty, where Americans was attacked by Israeli planes and torpedoes and so on. All this is history of the treachery that Israel would have perpetrated on the innocent souls in Palestine. And all we are asking is that we're willing to accept a two-state resolution. We're willing to accept that. But we want America to step in and put a leash on Israel. America has vetoed 53 resolutions in the United Nations.
My Judaism is not real good, but I do know that the Mossad, has as their watchwords, El Tatuch Dite, which simply means, the Mossad uses as their watchword, El Tatuch Dite, which simply means, by the art of deception, thou shalt do war. So, but this is where we have to leave it, Brother Abdullah. It was nice chatting with you. All right, folks. So I want to end by saying I saw a post. I don't have it. Guys, if you have it, you could put it up. If you don't have it, no love lost. A post by the Secretary for Education. What's her name? Huh? The Secretary for Education. No, she's the minister. The one in Tobago. Yes. Thanks. Yeah, I saw a post by Miss Zia Hackett. You know, as such asking, well, she didn't solicit. She have good lawyers, I'm sure. She did not solicit. What she said is, I wonder if I ask my friends to buy fans, if they'll buy fans or something to that effect, buy fans for schools they went to and so, would they do it? And I am told that fans are fanning its way throughout all the schools on the island, and that is good. That is good. That is good. And I want to compliment that initiative, and I want to say to the people who responded to the initiative, not her request, but responded to an initiative that flowed from her thoughts, not a request and not a solicitation. She just wondered if any of her friends or supporters will do it, and well, I guess her friends and supporters have caused her no more reasons to wonder. But the point I want to make is that it's the Tobago we are aspiring to be, and it's a good start. It's a good start. And if we want to talk the language and have the discussion about autonomy, then that is how it have to be done. The weak must bear the infirmities of the weak. Your friend is my friend, and my friend is your friend, and the more we are together, the merrier we will be. And that's it for tonight. Have a good night and be safe. Leave no stones unturned and be your neighbor's keeper.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the commentators, guest, and host. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the policy or the views held by Tobago Updates or this network. Tobago Updates or this network cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.